Hello there, World of Tankers, and welcome to the channel. I'm your host, World of Tanks Blitz, and in today's video, we'll be taking a look at the Object 590, a brand new Soviet Tier 8 collector medium. Now, normally, when you hear of mediums and being a premium vehicle, well, you think of your average 100mm Soviet gun, the Object 274A, the T-44-100 Mod 1, ST-62 version 2. All of these vehicles feature similar playstyles, are pretty lackluster in their overall performance, and are just kind of mediocre. However, the 590 actually seems like a proper tank that I've been waiting quite a while to get my hands on and showcase. In today's video, I'll be letting you know everything you're going to want to need. We're going to be talking about the armor, the mobility, the gun, and obviously how it plays in some live gameplay. So let's start off by making our way over to the statistics of this vehicle. We've got the gun, which has pretty awful aiming time of 4.3 seconds. That's more what you'd find akin on the Sheridan and really inaccurate vehicles. But dispersion-wise, it's alright at 0.335. It's got solid DPM at 2,100, especially because I am running calibrated. So if you're running rammer, it's upwards of 2,200. But I would definitely recommend to run calibrated shells, not only because it's getting buffed next update, but it's also going to give you that much-needed heat pen of 267mm. It's got decent standard pen as well at 191. It's also AP, not that ratty APCR, so pretty good overall on the gun. 280 damage per shot, classic Soviet 100mm damage, and 240 with the heat, while dealing a pretty sizable 350 on the high explosive. This tank has 8 degrees of gun depression. Yeah, that is not normal for Soviet tanks. 8 degrees of gun depression is going to make this vehicle fairly flexible. Mobility-wise, it has a top speed of 52, a reverse of 18, and a power weight of 21. And what's really impressive is that this thing weighs in at 40 tons. That's actually quite a hefty boy for a Tier 8 medium, and it's going to allow you to get away with quite aggressive maneuvers, which is obviously quite nice. Now, we are going to be taking a look at the armor profile of this vehicle, and that is where this tank is going to become quite dangerous. Looking at the upper plate, we can see on flat ground it is around 180mm thick. But obviously, as I said, this tank has 8 degrees of gun depression. And using that gun depression, we can see it's about 240mm thick. That is quite impressive. If we are to add enhanced armor, it is upwards of 250. It's pretty insane. Even loading heat, as we can see, there is no chance of you cutting through this vehicle's upper plate. So it is a very impressive armor profile. I mean, look at that angle there, 320. That is pretty insane. And the turret, well, this again is with 260mm of heat here. We can see that the turret at weakest is around 290, going upwards of 350. Yeah, what the absolute heck. This vehicle basically has a Tier 10 turret with a Tier 10 hull. I mean, the armor is insane. As I said, this is an incredible amount of pen. This is with Cali on here, so 267 mils of pen. This is what you see when aiming at the vehicle hull down. What the heck? Yeah. So the Object 590 has a pretty impressive armor profile for what is a Tier 8 medium. And when you pair that with 8 degrees of gun depression, decent mobility, and solid DPM, this is looking to be an incredibly dangerous and capable hull-down medium. So, yeah, I think the initial impressions of this vehicle are quite strong. But obviously, there's only one way to find out how it plays, and that's to get into live gameplay. Alright, here we are on Yamato Harbor. This is a solid matchup. We got a bunch of Tier 8s and only 2 Tier 7s. They got a lot of strong Tier 8s as well. Bastion, Barask, Chisei, although the FCM is not that dangerous of a vehicle. Now, I do have support here, so I'm going to make a fairly aggressive play. I can tell you that the mobility actually feels very nice on this tank. It's powered away to solid, and it seems to have very good terrain resistances, allowing this vehicle to feel flexible, really driving anywhere. This 34.3 is poking this a little wide, but not too big of a deal. We got the Type 62. There you go, nice pen. As we can see, though, I don't actually know where he penned me, but he was able to cut through us with his 200 and probably 50 or 75 mils of heat, depending on if he's running calibrated or rammer. Alright, well, let's wait for that Type 62 to poke again. Easy shell into his vehicle. We are getting pen, though. It looks like we are getting pen somewhere hull down, which is rather interesting because We just went over the armor profile, and it's not supposed to be penned hull down in this type of situation. I don't see any shells in our lower plate. Honestly, I don't see hit markers anywhere, so it's very hard to tell where we're actually getting shot from, which is rather annoying. We're aiming on the Brask. Nice 275 shot into his vehicle. And the Brask is now back and animated. We're going to poke him again. He misses me, so we're able to get another free shell out, and he misses the next shot as well. We know that the Type 62 is in the back, but right now, I think the Brask is a bigger threat than the Type 62, so that's who I'm going to focus on. Alright, well, the Type is not really smart, because now he's dead. There you go. Long live that player. Now we're going to make our way, see if we can maybe clear the ball shots on Brask. Not able to clear him, but we still get a nice 200 damage shell into his vehicle. Honestly, while the aiming time was pretty poor on paper, it doesn't feel like that big of a problem in actual gameplay. The on-movement dispersion is pretty good, and it's a great showcase on how, sure, base aiming time might seem really bad, but if you have good on-movement dispersion values, especially with vertical stabilizers, it can make your tank a whole lot more enjoyable. We're seeing that right here. I mean, this is making the tank much better in actual fun. Now, the enemy FCM, I've got no clue where that player is. I would expect him to be maybe AFK. Let's see the acceleration on this tank. Yeah, not bad. I mean, we're already up to 40 kilometers per hour. For how heavily armored this tank is, that's not too shabby at all. Okay, well, I don't know where the FCM is, and my only prediction would be that he's all the way in this back corner here, but that has to be wrong. I don't know where this dude is, to be honest. I would have thought he's in that back corner. There's no way he's over where the Type 62 is, so there's one other spot that I'm possibly thinking of, and that would be all the way in the corner of their spawn. And there he is. He is not AFK, so I don't know what the heck he's been doing the entire game. Interesting. Alright, well, let's make our way over to the FCM and see if we can get at least one shell into his tank. Oh, that was just really, really unlucky. Can't really say anything else about that. Alright, well, we got our adrenaline on, and we are able to get one shell out before the 53 TP gets the clear. So, overall, a pretty solid game. 2,764 damage dealt. We helped out our team a lot on medium flank. We sat hull down. We did get some rather peculiar penetrations, which I don't actually know how they penned me. But, to be fair, one thing I forgot to do was put enhanced armor on this tank, which is going to make it slightly stronger in the armor department. So, here we are. One more battle. Let's see if the 590 can do just as well. But that first game definitely showcased a lot of strong capabilities of this vehicle. The gun depression allows this tank to feel very flexible. It's so rare to see Soviet tanks with actual gun depression, and it does make them feel rather nice. And when you pair that with a fairly solid gun and overall great mobility and pretty good armor, I mean, there's really not much to dislike. I remember when I initially reviewed this vehicle, I said that this looked to be a really strong medium, and it's one of the few Soviet mediums that I'm actually excited for. So the enemy team has a Panther II, a Progetto, and an STG, but it appears that they are not making their way over here. We do have an IS-6 all the way in the back. This is why I always run calibrated shells, and that is because it makes it a lot easier to obviously cut through a lot of armor like that IS-6 does feature. There you go. Another nice shot. Yeah, again, while this gun may not feature the best on-paper aiming time, it actually feels very, very good on its overall accuracy, which is really nice, to be honest. We're going to reload again. We got a little bit longer. The only problem is we really can't pen this STG apart from the hatch, and base dispersion of 0.3 is not, or 0.33 was it? It's not great, so I'm just going to keep aiming it on that STG's hatch, and wow, yeah, those shells are not even going remotely close to where I'm wanting them to. Alright, well, the problem isn't the STG, it's just that he's not really allowing us to do anything. There you go, we do get a shot into the STG there. IS-6 is now just capped the base. Let's see if we can get another shell into the STG hatch. There you go. Now our shells are starting to go where we want them to, which is obviously pretty nice. And we're going to aim it again. Alright, I'm going to ignore the STG for now. I'm going to push the IS-6, get one nice shell into his vehicle. And we're going to push over here to where the STG really can't see me. I'm going to give the Dracula some room. There you go. And let's get another shell into the IS-6. Dracula is going to get him cleared, and the STG is also not enjoying life all too much. I guess I'm going to get the clear on to that player. Pretty good stuff, though. I mean, again, we're getting out good bleeds. We're helping our team. The STG is going to die. There you go. Nice. Silencer gets the clear. So all that's left is the Tiger P and SU-152. This is a really easy game. Honestly, there wasn't much to show here. So I'm probably going to do actually 3 helpings of gameplay to see what the 590 can do. But the gun felt nice again. I mean, yeah, we weren't penning the STG very accurately at distance on the hatch, but we did hit it twice. Still a decent example of where this gun feels pretty solid. Oh, man, but I can tell you for a fact, if you do not fully aim it in this tank, you are not going to hit your shots, and you saw that right there. We missed that shell on the rear of the Tiger P pretty easily. Taking a look at the post-game results, we did 1,700 damage. I mean, there really wasn't much for us to do in that game. We sat hull down, we did our job, and we came out with a very easy victory. And that's really all you want when playing any tier, is to do your job and get a win. So here we are in one final battle. We have a platoon up against us, a Balchaltion Marask, and Object 252, 2 pretty solid vehicles. Okay. It's definitely something I will have to keep in mind. We do not have a lot of heavily armored vehicles this game, and honestly, even the heavy we have barely has any armor. So we are going to start off this battle by making our way right over to this little crossing here. This is always a very, very good position to not only spot any slower vehicles that might be trying to cross in the open here, but as well, also very good to detect any vehicles in this opening. And as we can see, it would appear the enemy team is actually making their way over towards the other flank of the map. So what's really nice about this is that we can get spots into them. There you go. Nice shot into the RU. You'll notice this vehicle is covered in spaced armor, and because of that, we were able to angle it properly. Actually get a rather nice bounce. So we get a nice shot into the Brask, but he absolutely rolls the crap out of us. 385. That is almost as high of a roll as you can get from that vehicle, which is kind of insane. I am playing a little bit passive, obviously, because the enemy team is going to be making probably some aggressive maneuvers towards us here. Nice snap into the enemy RU-251, obviously. As I said, I actually like the gun handling. It's not too bad. Like, as long as you let it aim in, not that many complaints overall from the gun, which is pretty nice. We spot the Pantera, we get a nice shell into his vehicle, and he's not AFK. Thought he was, but he came back at the last moment there. We're going to push the Barask, and I just want to see how the armor on this tank ends up working out. We get one nice shell right into the Barask there, and we're just going to push him. He pens us once, gets another high roll. Man, this Barask is king of high rolls today, and it does not appear he actually has another shell, which really sucks for him. There you go. Easy clears. This feels like a T-62A down at tier 8 is what it really feels like, which is honestly no complaints from me. I mean, the armor, yeah, it's definitely not doing great when you got like a T-77 or something with such a high alpha going up against you, but I can't complain about it. We're doing all right here. The Type 62 is getting behind the T-77, and man, he really wants to tunnel me. Look at this guy go. I'm just going to sit here. I'm going to wait, and there you go. Now that the T-77 turns his turret to the side, we are now able to start getting shells out. We do have that 252 over here, which is a big threat. I don't want to be shot by the 252 at all. Let's back up, and we'll see what we can do here. I don't want to be shot by that 252. I'm not going to allow that to happen, so I'm just going to wait here. And let's see if we can possibly get a shell. Ooh, there you go. Easy clearing shot into that enemy T-77 into the rear. All right, pretty good stuff. We have the 252 over here as well. We get a nice 287 damaging shell into his lower plate, and I would expect the SU-130 to be able to finish him off. This has been a pretty solid game. We're up to 2,700 damage already. We got the RU-251 and the 45 TP. Nice 283 roll into the 45, and unfortunately he was able to clear my T-49. However, I don't think that's going to be much of an issue, as this 45 is a one-shot, and we're able to slam the shell right into his lower plate. As I said, the on-movement is actually pretty accurate on this vehicle. So while we weren't able to really get the overall armor to work too well, as we can see the majority of shots hit us in the lower plate, the tank still felt very flexible with the gun depression, the solid DPM, and decent accuracy on move. We were able to rip out 3,500 damage in this game, which is a very solid result. So I actually have no complaints about the 590 at all. This is a solid tier 8 Soviet medium. It is definitely, I would personally say, the most enjoyable, apart from, I really like the STG Guard, but this isn't really comparable to the rest. But if you were to say ST62 version 2, Mod 1, T4400, and 274A, I mean, this vehicle just blows them out of the water. It's got way better turret armor, way better hull armor. The gun is very solid. I mean, the 274A's got, you know, decent DPM, and it's got better accuracy and dispersion and more alpha, but it doesn't have that armor, and its mobility is only marginally better with the same power to weight. This tank is much better on armor. It's one of the cooler looking mediums. I really like this vehicle. I think Wargaming did a proper good job making it exciting. So for once, I think that this is a solid Soviet medium. Now, most likely this vehicle is going to be sold in crates, so do I think it's worth it? No. If it's being sold in crates, don't get your hands on it. Wait for it to get cheaper. But I am recording this as of right now, the 10th of May, so I don't know exactly what it's going to be sold in, and Wargaming hasn't told me. So I guess we'll find out. Either way, let me know what you guys think about this vehicle. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.